It is Kyle Gonzales against Eric Burghardt. So we have some deck lists to show you, or actually we'll just go right to the match. All right. You can see there it's Amulet Titan versus Hammer. We did see Eric play earlier.
In this matchup. This is in the same seat. Deja vu to the extreme here. Burghardt here on your right. Of course, Kyle Gonzales on your left playing Amulet Titan. Was not able to get it done there last time.
All right.
Here we saw, of course, Cauldron not good enough.
Those dice represent mulligans. Then
mulligan starting out well here.
Yeah.
Kyle maybe on a 6. I mean, you can't be too upset having a little bit of an opponent mulligan, but 4 is tough. And Eric has found a 4 that they like. And with that, we'll see if we're ready to kick things off. We are, and it's going to be an Esper Sentinel. Maybe delay the Amulet. We mentioned it last time. No thanks. Boreal Grazer going to put Growth Chamber in play.
All right. Well, Stoneforge Mystic. Okay, if that fetches up, I mean, this is a matchup where Cauldron Complete is just not the clock you need, and that's what we're going to get.
But if you need a clock, it's a clock, and that's maybe the only thing we have is Dread. The Elysian Grove comes down, adds Micah Smith Gardens to the mix. Quick play from Kyle Gonzales. Eric's not even done fetching the Cauldron, which represents one of the 3 remaining cards in Eric's hand.
All right, Eric. Well, I guess 5 coming across is not the worst.
Better than 0? Yeah.
No, not even going to commit to that. Interesting.
What did that mean? Is here comes Primeval Titan. Are we looking to block the Primeval Titan and get that trigger to exile it? Is that where we're at? I guess so.
Sure. I mean, okay.
There's no amulet, so it's not even be hasty right now, but 2 Valakuts are going to pick up your entire board. And we'll go ahead and put the Cauldron Complete in now. Indestructible Valakuts are going to be able to pick that up, but the Titan does not need to go to work quite yet. As we go back to Eric Burghardt, who looks to be in about the same situation he was in last time, facing down a Primeval Titan with Cauldron Complete. Just not good enough, basically, ever where you want to be. Really need Kyle to stumble, and he did not.
No amulet, but no problem here for Kyle Gonzales as things are running on all cylinders. Active Valakut in play, going crazy. Primeval Titan attacking. Eric's at 14. This is
everything coming up Kyle, and a little bit more maybe at stake for Eric. 2 and 4 needs to start to rally back if he wants to stay in this tournament. Kyle Gonzales at 4 and 2, already pretty safe. Of course, another win would help solidify his position, maybe even give him the upper echelon of the pod. Not clear what that looks like quite yet. As here comes 2 lands, going to pick up the Otawara. That should seal everything. As you can pick up the token and then go to work attacking the Primeval Titan. Then you're gonna have the combat damage plus the Valakut damage, and that should be enough to finish off Eric, I believe, this turn right now, and it sure is. And that is going to be the end of game number 1. About as going to be.
That's we could have played that game within the other matches probably 30 or 40 times and had time left over. All right, let's go ahead and look at some deck lists. It's a good thing this is time shift, otherwise they might finish while we were reading out the decks. But
just shuffle up, ready to go again. Let's have a look at Kyle Gonzales first. We've seen Eric's deck before. This one, Amulet, looks similar, but not quite the same. Only 1 endurance here, 2 generous int, 2 Terra Sunder, 3 dismember, 2 engineer explosives, a curse totem, 3 defense grid, and a Bajuka Bog. A lot to like here with these Terra Sunders and dismembers, I'd imagine.
Yeah. So 1 glaring, no Force of Vigors this time around. So that's some improvement, I guess, for the Hammer deck. But this is
got some raw farms to cast the extended mode too. Get the black. All right. I mean, certainly you want it for the disenchant mode here, but actually comes up maybe in some other matchups. And 61 cards, of course, still here. Kyle Gonzales. Amulet seems to be the only deck interested in 61. Maybe more to follow, but 61 again here.
What is happening to people?
I don't know. They've been convinced, Joe. They've been convinced.
Okay. All right. And then let's go ahead and look at the Hammer deck once again. It is the Eric Burghardt, who we saw earlier, with the Strict Proctor package, which had an impact.
That good. Yeah. I mean, it was a little slow on the even on the play, because that on the draw, he was a little slow because the turn 2 consisted of about 10 triggers you would have loved to have gotten countered by Strict Proctor, but still had a very big impact on the game for both players. So this one, of course, is symmetrical, but obviously looked strong enough against both Amulet Titan and all of its friends to be worth the include and shut down, some of your own triggers of Pure Steel Paladin, Stoneforge, and the like. Maybe saw a little bit of Surge of Salvations and Solitude still in the deck after sideboarding, but really Strict Proctor, I think really when we saw Eric play previously, it was a big part of the plan, and I would imagine it's going to be a big part of the plan again here.
All right, let's get to it. So round 7, the last round of stage 1, game 2, but don't take me saying last round of stage 1 to mean it is the end of coverage today, because it is not. Right. And we are being told this is a time-shifted match. We're being told that there is a camera blackout at some point during this match, but it recovers. So you know as much as we do about that, but we'll excitedly look forward to it.
Plains Go met with a Boreal Grazer, putting in Valakut. Not a bounce in this time, but still an accelerant nonetheless. Grazer looks pretty good so far in this matchup, being able to check some of the early pressure that could exist. We'll see how it fares against Eric with a larger hand. It's your Strict Proctor. Already ready to clock in.
Now, we'll see. One of the vulnerabilities of is that explosives on 2? Okay, well, that's pretty solid.
Land return. Well, that'll take care of the Proctor pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, one of the vulnerabilities of Versus Saga against a deck like this, especially post-board, is you can get it blown up and miss your land drop. No Terra Sunder here, though, for Kyle. Just explosives on 2, which is pretty promising as well, as it gets Pure Steel Paladin in addition to Strict Proctor.
Yeah, and there's this question about whether you even want to go after that versus something a little bit more impactful. A lot of times the hammer and combat type stuff is something you want to reach for with your Terra Sunders.
Second Grazer, and Kyle will pass on the payment to leave open the explosives.
Smart. Just getting another blocker in play, I think worth quite a bit. And we're going to go ahead and take care of this now. Unclear.
So this is...
Oh, to get around Pithing Needle. Okay, in case
sure.
It looks like there's a Pithing Needle in the main deck, so you don't want to get your explosives Pithing Needle. I'll say it's a weird time because you let Eric play his turn. Actually, very heads up, covering for the Pithing Needle that could come off of the Urza Saga and shut down the Engineered Explosives. Wants to make sure that the Strict Proctor gets off the field, and the Engineered Explosives does actually work. So, pretty heads up there from Kyle. Could look a little bit weird if you're not, aware of the deck list, but both players are aware of each other's deck list. And so yeah, heads up play there, floating a mana from the Urza Saga. Let's go searching. Pithing Needle, certainly a worse grab than it was originally. And well, is our
despite being forewarned, I was still completely taken off guard by the screen going dark. I guess we can speculate as to what Eric's going to pull out, but instead we'll just wait for what we assume is just a moment here. In the meantime, I'll tell you about what's going to come up after the last round of stage 1. 4 players will advance to stage 3. 4 players will be out of the tournament. The remaining 8 will play a double elimination 3-round set this evening to determine who joins the other 4 in day 2. Those matches will be played with each player being able to veto a format, and the third format will be the one that is contested. In the meantime, we really didn't miss much. They weren't kidding about that. In fact, Eric is still searching.
Yeah, we still have, we have a few options here, right? You have Colossus Hammer if that's something you have, like a Pierce of Paladin or whatever rolled up. You can have Ginger Brute if you just want the threat to get through these Grazers. That's something that could matter. Of course, always the mana options with Springleaf Drum and the like. No, Mox Opal, sadly. But Shadow Spear, whatever you want.
Yeah, you still could also get Pithing Needle. I guess you could name Urza Saga or the One Ring, possibly.
Sure. I mean, with Primal Titan kind of being the main primary problematic card, you can name like Teleria West if that's where we're at, but I can't imagine that's where we're at. Your hand would have to be in a very unique spot for that to be where we're at.
Yeah, you could name one of the lands, the Sunhome or the Hasteland, I suppose.
Sure. I mean, like, again, you'd have to have so much other stuff rolled up for that to be the cover you need. Right now, Eric is so behind in every axis, pressure and resources and all the like. I have to imagine we need something to advance that.
Yeah,
but,
I agree.
Of course, I don't know what the hand looks like, and maybe Hammer can produce kills out of nowhere. It could just be like Shadow Spear, White Source, aid, hammer, Shadow Spear equipped, kill you. That kind of stuff can just happen. So, we'll see exactly how things play out. There is an Eekmoth in play. And Ginger Brute is going to be the fine. So that's a threat that can get through these Grazers.
Yeah, I suppose. Calling that a threat by itself seems optimistic, but it can carry weaponry. So we'll see.
Hammer in hand. We see a hammer in hand. It's not it's not all by its lonesome yet.
All right.
So we have aid too. So if we have aid Hammer, activate Gingerbread. We're just done. So I imagine there's only one hammer. If there's a second, I think we're rolled up here outside of something like Force of Vigor, which Kyle knows, or Eric knows Kyle doesn't have. Maybe we're concerned about Dismember.
Even one would be enough, right? With this much mana, because Inkmoth could reactivate if it was Cigar's Aid, Hammer, 1, 2. No, never mind. That's not enough. That's one short.
Inkmoth isn't enough because we can block it. We
right, because the Grazers have reached. You
can't tell the little mammal on the ground. You can't tell that has reach, and Kozilek or whatever doesn't. Yeah, it's kind of easy to miss.
Or hanging in trees or something, I guess.
Sure. I mean, it's a weak argument when you have your colossal things there. Whatever. Semantics, not a game designer. I trust them, but sometimes I struggle with the flavor, And so we are given a big think to how to navigate this turn. Like I said, I feel like it'd be trivial if we just had it all rolled up. Maybe we're concerned about something like a Dismember. Here is the Pure Steel Paladin. Going to go ahead and cast a hammer. We do have Metalcraft right now. And card drawn for Eric. Another copy of Cigar's Head. Ain't what the doctor ordered. Okay, so we can equip and make it a 2-turn.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just kind of hope to not die. I mean, it's not that bad of a plan as here does.
Yeah.
The equip does work. That wasn't trivial. No Dismember here. I feel like you probably would have fired that off if you could. And an attack for 11.
The construct could go in also and just eat a Grazer, I suppose, or take another 3. It doesn't matter.
Well, Kyle doesn't have anything at all. Why picked it up? Another fast game. All that thinking from Eric to play what was functionally like a 6-turn game or whatever. And
I suppose they kind of knew what's coming. They're like, well, this is a time shift match, and there's plenty of time to get it in. They weren't kidding. I guess. I guess let's go. Game 3. We'll see if it lasts more than 3 turns.
What I like about Modern is you can say there's a fast match and present 2 like decks or whatever, and it's not clear who wins it. A lot of times like there's a fast match, it's Infect versus Control. It's like, okay, well, we know what happened here. No, this is not the case of this. It's like Amulet can just kill you on turn 2, Hammer can just kill you on turn 2. Who knows what happens?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this time Kyle taking a mulligan. Well, I guess Kyle took one in game 1 also. Just Eric took 2 or 3 actually. So in terms of evening up the count, Kyle still owes Eric 1 here.
Is that something you track in your matches?
I'm
mulligan, you owe me 1.
I often tell my opponents that in paper matches that they owe me a mulligan or Incredible. 2 or something like that. Yeah.
Or 2.
Well, it depends. I mean, you got to even things out. I mean, what I tell people is, when they're drawing up their hand, if they owe me 2 mulligans, I'm like, an honorable person wouldn't even look at their first hand. They would just throw it away. Sure. And go to 6, and then
I would accept a bad keep of 7 as compensation for 2 mulligans. You just keep a bad hand.
No, but there's no. It's you then have no honor because the point is you just have to mull without looking. You're just trying to maintain your status as like a legitimate player, as a good person.
Well, speaking of honor, turn 1 Amulet, turn 2 Dryad. That's certainly honorable way to play the game. Only 1 land in play for Kyle going into Eric's second turn. Kind, behind on mana.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just generous of him. He mulliganed and he's stuck, right?
No mana. What is he gonna do? Eric adds Urza's Saga to the mix. Nothing on board yet. No Cigar's Aid or anything like that. Things that you would expect to see when you're trying to win a race, like this matchup is, as we've seen so far. So gonna need a really high impact turn from Eric here.
He's thinking about this. Is it possible we're debating
Solitude pitch, Solitude, get this Dryad out of here. I mean, normally you want to say that for Titan, but just wants to get rid of it now. Here's Strict Proctor.
Okay. That was a good turn.
That was a very good turn. He needed a good turn and had it. Here's Dismember right away to take care of Strict Proctor. Great pickup there for Kyle, and under no pressure, that life total punishment maybe not going to happen. And only Celestial Sanctuaries, maybe the other land, means no land deployed. Only 2 permanents for Kyle altogether. As we go back to Eric, ticks up the Saga, deploys.
Is it possible there's a misstep there? Because if you're not going to play anything anyway, then maybe you let the Proctor survive for a moment. Because if Eric has like a Stoneforge Mystic here, it would be dead. Effectively with the Proctor still in play. I don't know. I'm not sure.
With you having no additional lands, like it's possible when you do draw some action, it looks like Azusa shaped or something, and you would need that initial 3 from the Boseiju tap Dismember. Like you wouldn't have the 3 mana to Azusa right away. So because you don't have another land and 3 is like a number that matters in your deck, you need to Dismember then. But even then,
I'm not suggesting
if you're not going to do anything that turn, you could just pass and do it on.
That's what I'm suggesting, that Kyle could have Dismembered on Eric's turn potentially.
But then there's like Surge of Salvation a
I know that's the risk. I agree that is in fact the risk, and we know Eric brings that in this matchup. And at this point in the day, it's possible Kyle would know that Eric brings that in. He knows it's in the sideboard. So
already played this matchup once.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, Eric giving a lot of thought to this turn here. Can't get a great look at what that is. Be honest with you, I don't know what that is, but I can tell you that there is a Dryad on the other side. There's a Pure Steel Paladin, I'm being told. Never seen that artwork before. Frankly, didn't know it exists, and I feel foolish for it. But Basage is going to take care of Urza's Saga, which in the phase of a Pure Steel Paladin, pretty heads up. I'd say don't want to let even like a hammer get into play to start doing some drawing cards and potentially equipping with any more artifacts that could be made. But so
that was the whole turn, though. Like this isn't.
Bounce in now in play for Kyle. Yeah. I mean, if there's not another bounce in, this Amulet's really weakened. I mean, this has been a tough showing of the Amulet deck, who normally is kind of known for its speed. As here is Stoneforge Mystic. And a tapped Pure Steel Paladin thanks to the Springleaf Drum.
Being tapped. Something. This Springleaf Drum, hard cast on turn 3 or 4 is not ideal, but I guess in this case,
whatever you got to do for Metalcraft. Yeah, honestly,
I know, right?
I think Eric's got to be ecstatic.
Yeah. No, I agree. And so we're searching here for.
I mean, actually, Eric doesn't seem too sure.
Surge and Forge Anew, I think, are the cards there. So no Metalcraft available, but I imagine Eric's going to leave the Surge up, which is going to be suspicious.
It's going to be basically face up with you grabbing a hammer.
Well, I guess he could not get. He didn't get the hammer. Wow. Now it's not telegraphed.
Sure. I mean, there's Teleria West. Can't transmute that one very easily, even with Dryad, because Bounce Lands and Dryad doesn't really work the way you want it to. So back to Eric we go, who does have this Cauldra. But I mean, if you're Kyle and he's grabbing Cauldra with a Pure Steel Paladin, isn't that kind of weird? I don't know.
So Eric did draw the land. So conceivably, if it had been dropped, gone hammer play last turn, would have drawn the land, but there's no way you're going to do that.
Right.
So here's
Cauldra complete. That's going to have 2 ETB triggers, make a germ and draw a card, thanks to the Pure Steel Paladin. And
Eric has taken some time on some of his decisions here. So he's clearly processing a lot of what we're talking about here also. He's really thinking through, what do I want to do? How much mana do I want to, is it worth holding up my defenses? And he's clearly decided it is. And he has gotten
attack for 12 with the Pure Steel Paladin and left the Cauldra behind.
Yeah.
I love this.
You do?
Representative of knowing that you are not getting your threat answered because of Surge of Salvation. The only way you die is Primeval Titan. So being able to block that with Cauldra and get it out of the way is maybe a big part of your equation, because next turn you can just suit the Cauldra up to the Pure Steel Paladin and have that surge, and you're covered.
Okay.
And I think Kyle may be piecing some of that together right now. I mean, it does look very strange if you're not sure what's up.
Yeah. It leaves up another mana also with the Springleaf Drum.
Yeah, now there's an EE on 1. That'll take care of the Amulet, but we'll actually pick off the hammer and the Springleaf Drum, but it's not clear if that's even going to be enough. If we just move the Cauldra over right now while we have Metalcraft, that's just good enough, right? And there's Pithing Needle. Yeah, you got to respond to that one. Yeah, boom. There's force action right now, and Surge of Salvation can give, I believe, something indestructible. You and permanence, you control being hexproof. Nope, does not give indestructible.
No, it does not.
So those are just going to get blown up, which isn't even that bad. I mean, we still have pretty good attacks. White mana floating from the Springleaf Drum. And Pithing Needle, presumably named something like Teleria West. I mean, there's one in play. But maybe you just name Engineer Explosives again, something of that nature. Yeah, the Amulet's blown up too, which actually does matter. If Kyle's looking to win in one shot, that matters a lot. And Forge Anew is going to repick up the hammer, and that's going to do it.
Wow.
Eric able to get it done, keep his tournament alive as he advances to 3 and 4 right when he needed it. It's not clear if that's going to be good enough, but it looks like it might be.
Yeah. Okay. That was something. That was That was exciting stuff, and that one had more interplay than the other ones, so that was really cool. Good for Eric evening up that match, at least the matches we saw having him on camera. Okay, we're gonna break, and we're gonna come back, and Drake and I are gonna look at who advanced out of pod play, and then we're gonna get stage 2 started. This is the NRG Championship. We'll be right back.